Hello, my name is Francis Fox, and my usual introduction. I am a trained psychic spy. I was trained in remote viewing, placed in a program prior to birth, um, military mind control for mind expansion, human potentials, superpowers, which is what brings me to my mission, and this that I do, and basically everything else that I do, which is to learn and to teach about white magic. Superpowers are magic, white magic, dark magic, voodoo, santeria, whatever. It's magic. And human beings have always accessed magic because we have that ability. There has not been very much available other than pray to God and He'll take care of it for you, which, by the way, dynamically in terms of sketches is accurate. You do get the assistance of the God particles when you're totally aligned with something you really want, even if it's something really bad. Anyway, I have a university degree in political science, not much good it does me. I enjoy applying my skills to things that have to do with health and wellness, but I love business. So I'm half Gemini, and that means I cannot just be stuck doing one thing. So I was almost not going to do this chat. Everybody's busy. It's Friday night, etc. But then something very interesting happened, and I felt that I should share it because it might make a difference. So let's go over the map first. The map looks great. How can we be on the edge of a world war and have protests slash riots in 200 cities and still look like this? So the map at the top, it says Canada gone. Those wavy lines, that's like frequency. In Canada, red. I guess nobody's working there. It would be good if there were enough Canadians that were visualizing Canada cooling down in the other dimensions. Okay? Anyway, the heart in the center of the United States looks better than it has ever looked. Figure that one out. And then you have the frequency lines, Nile green, which is the color of the heart chakra, which is excellent. And then you have the Mayan pyramids, but now they're purple, which is of the highest order, royalty, God, sacred. And then there's an eye at the top, almost like that eye on our dollar bills. Interesting. And then Mexico drowning. It turns out that just like Colombia absorbed the excess violence in Jerusalem in 1948 when Israel was made a state, Mexico is taking on excess fire from the United States, which would explain why we've never been able to be successful in reducing the fire in Mexico, even when there's nothing happening. And now, a couple of days ago, I asked, and that's the explanation. The fire that they're handling is not their fire. At this point, it's United States fire, but we don't know that the United States fire is not the fire from Canada or from other countries. And that's the whole point. One of the things I love about the Buddha, he said that until the last person was healed, we would all be sick. Next, let's go into Francis Fox gossip. By the way, this is the way we looked yesterday. And this is the way we look today. This is good going into the protests. And we did an event today, 1 hour, a couple hundred people, several hundred people have already seen it. For an hour, we were cooling down the United States. Now at 8 o'clock tonight again, and tomorrow again at 1. So even if you don't speak Spanish, you just repeat the mantra. Even though I hate, I love and accept myself. Even though I hate and there's nothing I can do, I love and accept myself. And then just keep visualizing ice on top of the United States, moving water. You can, if you're like Macho Man, you can be a lot. Visualize you have a hose of cold water, and you're spraying the whole country, whatever, and the angry people. Participate in the other dimensions with the power of your mind. Remember, I told you, power is no longer money. It's not information. It's not factories. It's not land. It's human minds that you can Am I inventing a word? Vectorize, that you can direct their natural ability of humans to create a vector in their system and direct their energy someplace. Our negative emotions have been weaponized by somebody who understands that. But you can do that with all things, good things. So it's not a weaponizing, it's vitalizing your intention to cool down the United States so that when those protests are happening, they don't descend into violence. When you cool it down, there's not enough fire. You cannot have violence because you don't have the fuel. It's like saying, I'm going to drive from here to such a such and such a place, but you only have gas. Your intention is strong. You're going to drive there. You're going to get there, but you only have gas for half the way. Well, that's great intention, enthusiasm over enthusiasm, but you don't have the gas for the car to take you the second half. They have to have the gas to have the violence. And I was thinking about it. The rioters, their frustrations in life and end times. Can you imagine? Everybody's frustrated. No, nothing to do with Trump and politics, but let's weaponize it. So those people go, they don't know what it is that goes on. Energy transfers. You go someplace and all of a sudden you're really sad. And it turns out there's an energy in the air of the people that were there previously, whatever. So you get a group of people, you get some ready to kill, and the others are just frustrated because of relatives or whatever. And the hatred falls over them. Anyway, we're not going to go into that. So, looking good. So last night I was under attack. I'm looking for something in particular having to do with Schiff. So this is the gossip part of my chat. Give me a second because it's important. What did I say? I'm dancing as fast as I can. So last night I was under attack. Darn. Okay, well, we're not going to find it right now. And so I spent the night uncomfortable and using all whatever superpowers I have. And so today I woke up feeling like somebody had run me over. So in the afternoon, I was doing this map that's here. Okay, that's my handler. That's him. Those black things are those green mind streams, but disorderly, because that's what I could do this map on anybody. This is my handler. So today I'm dealing with my handler and Schiff. Both of them are still operational. My handler has 1 foot in a grave, his physical body. Schiff does not. He's still physically up on his feet, whatever. So I'm taking care of this. And then I start to think, what is the relationship between Schiff and my handler? Well, I already talked about that. Well, they have to know each other. So then I asked the question. Remember, I taught you that your body lets you know. When you say a lie, black comes out of your mouth. Okay, and if you're really angry, even if you're saying pretty words, they're red. It's an energy. It shows. That's why in the future nobody's going to be able to. In Revelations, at the end of Revelations, nobody's going to be able to lie. Because people are going to say, what's the matter with you? But I know that's not true. So anyway, so I'm going, okay, so if I'm dealing with these two men in the other dimensions, they're astral spirits. And I'm going, okay, they got to know each other. Yeah, they do. And so oh darn. I did this. Adam Schiff and my handler had sex. Did you see how easily I said that? That means they had sex, but that makes sense. That makes total sense. So let me remind you again, because you need to perfect this skill. Okay? Lie detector test. Adam Schiff gave. I'm going to try and say that Adam Schiff gave me this as a gift, okay? But I'm going to try and say it. Adam Schiff gave me this. Now, I can make myself, Adam Schiff gave me this as a gift, but I have to really control this. So Adam, that. No, he didn't give me this as a gift. Adam Schiff and my handler had sex. Yes, they did. But that makes sense. So I'm dealing with them and I'm dealing with Adam Schiff and I'm cutting the strings because without those strings, he inserts those into people. That's his wife, that's me. Now we can put my handler there. Excuse me, this is my handler. So we can put Adam Schiff there because my handler, there's no way he is also not trying to control or has controlled Adam Schiff, even though I think that strategically he's underneath Adam Schiff. So I'm cutting these strings and I'm struggling, and I am aware that I am frightened to use my superpowers that I was trained in. It was prohibited. So I'm rooting around for the mantra that will help me to get around that so that I can use the powers that I do have. And do you know what mantra I ended up with, which works? Which brings us to the next thing, which I didn't want to talk about. Please, God, help me with my intention to create a miraculous disconnect with no babies dying from Adam Schiff. I had to add the words with no babies dying in order to be able to do that mantra. Now, I said it with the words truncated. Please, God, help me with my intention to miraculously disconnect from Adam Schiff with no babies dying. Dead babies is a huge part of the mind control. So the whole thing with Diddy and all the rest of that stuff, the Epstein, the military mind control, the cults, the Satanism, core, center, core is dead babies. Got it? Now, whether you killed one or not, they can make you think that you did, drugging you, plastic dolls. They did that to me in the Everglades. It wasn't the only time that they did that, but you believe it. And that's the other dimensions are wonderful, but they're also tricky. So that was the only way I was able to access something, to disconnect, which I have to do continuously and every day because the man is very active and he's desperate. So you can understand why people are not going to come forward and say, oh, yeah, well, yeah, I was involved in that. Oh, did you kill babies? Did you have sex with your boss and you're supposedly not gay? There's no issue with them being gay. It's okay. It's not a problem. It's a problem for my handler. I think he would take down the whole planet when people find out. He doesn't really care who he has sex with. So now, if you do that same map, which is the one I'm not finding, for Adam Schiff, then you have him in the center. Okay. He's rather than handler Adam Schiff, you would have me, but then you would also have my handler, and then you would have this Newsom, which we saw the other day, that he's connected, and because I'm cutting the cords that Adam Schiff has, then everybody if he's feeding off of us, which he is, then that energy will come back to the people that he's feeding off of, such as me. But that's also how you're controlled. So here's the other story, and you have to be patient with me on this, okay? Because it was not easy. Something happened this morning that I have learned already to when something happens, I have to ask, why did I need this problem? So it looked like somebody tried to kill me this morning. But let me give you and then I already did why would I need this problem? Because I'm not going to die. That's not the issue. So why did I need that to happen? It's part of what I need. Why did I need it? I only leave my house once a day to walk my dog, which of course I cannot do any longer after today. So I'm coming back. I have entered my property is like a little community, so you enter and then the gates open the car and you can go come in and then whatever. So I'm already on my property at 7:30 in the morning. My street is very quiet. Yes, there are some cars, but it's a quiet street. It's a wide street. Um, Nobody travels down the street quickly because of the two streets that you just don't. It doesn't work. So I step into my property and I step in like 10 feet, and all of a sudden I hear these screeching, and on the property, getting ready, to the gate, there's a truck with a young man. And I went, oh God, I'm going to get kidnapped or something because it was loud. 7:30 in the morning, you can't go fast on that street. How did that happen? And I said, this is something weird here. So I just stood there, and this young guy jumps out of his truck. He's in a rage. And I'm like, that's interesting. He almost hit me on the property and he's in a rage. And he said, that goddamn garbage can, why did they put it? They put it there. So there was a garbage can that interrupted where he wanted to go. Well, that's a problem because the garbage can was the reason why his truck couldn't get closer to me. And the garbage can is on this side of the street, and he was coming down this way. He had no reason to be anywhere near the garbage cans, even if they were in the center of the street. It had nothing to do with how he came in. Came down the street like this, turned here. The garbage cans are over here. I'm here. But it was like weird. And it was afterwards that I realized that garbage can should have never been in his way. Even if he was coming here this way instead of this way, the cans were this way. And it was what ended up stopping him, the garbage can. Thank you, God. That was interesting. So when I was thinking about it later, I sketched him. The young man in the truck. He came into the property, parked in front of somebody that I think is Cuban mafioso, got out of his truck and stood there for an hour in a residential community. He just stood outside his truck for an hour. Anyway, that was weird. So I went, okay, well, I can sketch this and find out what his intentions were. I had already asked, and I had been told, yes, he wanted to hit me with his truck. Okay, well, that's not unusual. A lot of people want me dead now. It's okay. It's not okay, but so then I went ahead and sketched because I trust my sketch more than anything else. I didn't get in my sketch that the young man wanted to hit me, but I did get that he hated me. Well, I've never seen him before. I don't know why he would hate me, but probably Cuban, political, whatever. And I went, oh, okay, so that's like just maybe his anger? Yeah. And then I went, wait a minute. Remember how I always say, widen your lens? I'm looking at the man with the truck, what he's thinking, and he's just hating me. And I went like this, and all of a sudden, I can see this. My handler instructed him via mind control, and he weaponized a rage. He probably explained to him these god awful things that I'm doing, weaponized because the rage was there when I sketched it. What wasn't there was the intention to hit me with his car. And yet I knew because I had gotten the information already. So widen the lens. He didn't want to hit me with his car. He's mind controlled by my handler, who is still loose, to hit me. So if he did hit me, the police come, this whole thing's, that young man would say, I don't know what happened. There was a garbage can and I tried to avoid. There was no garbage can in his way. The garbage cans, even if they're in the middle of the road, they were not in the middle of the road he came in on. But the young man would be confused. He didn't do this. He didn't want to do this. He doesn't know me. Mind control. A lot of the stuff that happens in the United States, the people that are doing it are mind controlled. And there was a point a couple of months ago in which I understood that there was a button that was pushed having to do with the people that are physically alive and operational and look okay, but in the other dimensions they're under control. And there was a some kind of a programming to create havoc. And yet those people, when they create havoc, they're not going to understand what they're doing. And this whole thing about human memory and compartmentalizing the subpersonalities that the Mayans talked about 5,000 years ago, and we never got it. Um, you end up pointing fingers at people. This young man, if the information I'm giving you is accurate, and it should be because it all holds together and now it makes sense, then who's responsible? My handler that really does want me dead. He's so angry at losing control of me, which means he lost apparently control of an empire, which is Schiff again. They lose control of a whole empire. What happens to all those people when there's no boss? I don't know. You can just float around. I have no idea. I know how much I've had to struggle to not be caught up, and I still am half caught up. So, what's the bottom line? Anytime you hear somebody talking about killing babies, dead babies, that's cult, that's mind control, there's perverted sex right there. Da, 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 da. Don't avoid talking about that just because it's so god awful. That's how they get away with it. Because it's so god awful, people don't want to believe it's true. You know what? Get over it. Yes, it's true. Yes, it's god awful. It's been done forever, though, from the beginning of the planet. The whole absorbing of the energy of a baby. But in this case, what they did was to control us by making us think that we killed babies. Don't let the awfulness of the information turn you away. Stay and just start. You don't get it, it's okay. You put piece here, piece there, piece there, piece here, piece there, piece there, and it'll come together. And we need to do this, and we need to do this together, which is why I'm doing. I wasn't going to come on today. I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. This is ridiculous. But I actually got kind of happy that I was able to understand the Manchurian candidate issue, which is this man. Maybe I don't think he had any reason to kill whoever it was he was supposed to kill, and I don't remember the movie whether he did kill him or not, but he was programmed, and there were triggers. He would have never known. But again, here we go. There we go. Now, those strings are the matrix implants. Now, human beings see the green ones. That's actually what we look at when everything is fine, which it isn't fine. Most of our strings are struggling with a disease, a rash, a thought, whatever, grabbing our mates by the throat, whatever. So, strings are very important, and strings are in the original Lord's Prayer in Aramaic. So, and it's string theory. So, I like research. So, when I finally figured it out, because I went into a state of shock when that happened, because I knew something big had happened. It wasn't that it was that close or he almost hit me. It was the thought, you know what? They really do want me dead. At that point, I didn't know it was my handler. He's like the number one person. That being it, what is it? If I can't have her, I want her dead. It's more like I'm going to teach her a lesson. Okay, and I sketched Adam Schiff. I did a class on the face. I told you about it. So I had a couple of minutes here, fidgeting. Let me, and I put out a little sketch for the face, and I sketched everybody's face in the class. And I was sorry that I did, because we are a mess in the other dimensions, all of us. Adam Schiff's face. This is frequencies. This is psychotronic. You know, in the United States, it's green. This is psychotronic. This is an opening to Orion. This is supposed to be all the way over here. It's not. because this part of him is not attached to the rest of him. That's his third eye. That eye on the dollar bill that makes you guys also nervous. They want you to be nervous. They don't want you to know about it because they want to control yours. I wouldn't have thought that somebody is controlling Adam Schiff's third eye, but they are. All those X's are black magic. This is black magic. So anything else here? I could have kept, I can go on forever. Oh, guess what his mission is? You know, like my mission is to learn all this other dimensional stuff to teach you about white magic so that you can use it in your life and become super powerful. Adam Schiff's mission is to prepare the masses for subjugation. I think this means that he's preparing the masses having to do with an alien invasion. So I think we need to take him down quick. Not just because it would appear, let's see, let me try it with my mouth. Uh, my handler mind controlled the guy. My handler ordered the guy to hit me with his car. This was just a silly little act. See, silly little, like this was no big deal. I tried to say that it won't go. This There was no ill intent at any level. I want to say it, and I can't. No, I can make myself it. There was no ill intent at any level. I can make myself, but I have to make myself, and there's something here that has to set firmly, and then I can say something that's a lie. But if I don't do that, if I just want to let it flow out, you can tell if something's a lie or not. So let me see if I have anything else. Tomorrow we have the protests. If there is not extra fire, they cannot be violent. We are working many hours and it's thousands of people. You can contribute also. So let's go ahead and do that mantra for, and I'm going to play that video that we like so much that we did for Elon. No, let's do the other video. I need to get that done. But there's too much fire between me and my graphic artist. So we're having a bit of actually a Mexican standoff because he's Mexican. That's what we're having. Okay, visualize the United States underneath this, and you're underneath it also. The mantras repeated in silence you expel through your mouth. This is a purification mantra. It's not an affirmation. You're not affirming it. What you're doing is you're calling it in, and through your breath in the mantra, you call it in and it gets expelled out. It disappears. Okay? You repeat it in silence. Don't move your mouth. Remember, I talked about it being in the Lord's Prayer, the issue with frequencies and letting us know, not the Lord's Prayer, I'm sorry, the Bible. This is the, I apologize, I don't know the proper word. Quote the, anyway, now the Spirit expressly says that in latter times, which is now, some will depart from the faith, giving heed to deceiving spirits and doctrines of demons, speaking lies in hypocrisy. There's all the disinformation, etc., having their own conscience seared with a hot iron. Seared is when, you know what that is, when you cook meat. And that was a warning about the heat from cell phones. Seared is a type of cooking. Microwave powers cell phones. It cooks meat. It cooks your brain. If you put it in your pocket, if you're a man, it's cooking your penis. And you wonder about fertility and not enough energy for sex. Anyway, the last line I put, the bad guys don't want you to know about this. I have been frightened for decades, as is everybody who knows this, because we know that the bad guys will take us down. Today and X, they were talking about that the vaccine makes you kind of like magnetic, to where you can take a dime and put it, and it will stick to your body if you're vaccinated. I don't know if that's true or if it's not true. And so they started to talk about, well, maybe this study is not true. Okay, and then somebody says, yeah, but it does look like we have an electrical system. We do have an electrical system. Hello, will somebody listen to me? Yes. And it's, I'm actually changing the name of that system. Our electrical system is the second body from the left. It's your etheric, and it's electric. Now the next body is your astral spirit, and it is magnetic. So we are electromagnetic in terms of the entire assemblage of bodies, but not everything is electromagnetic. Your etheric, by the way, science found something they call the Higgs field, which is a backdrop, an environment that everything hangs on and it's kind of there. That's the etheric field. It's called the life web. But then we have a body made up of the same grids. Now, the Higgs field is electric, 110. I don't know a lot about that, but I know that. And so we have a body made up of, the Higgs field is made up of mind strings, grids made up of mind strings that are electric, 110. And then we have a body, which is the etheric body, which I'm going to change the name to the Higgs body to kind of update it, maybe get more people to listen. They don't like what I'm saying. So the whole thing with frequencies is very important. So if Adam Schiff, his mission was to prepare masses for subjugation, he knows everything about frequencies. Here's the trick. The Cuban mafia know everything about those machines. And I think that the University of Miami, I don't think it's knowledge that is not hidden. I'm sure they got government funding, but they study microwave with little animals. University of Miami. So Adam Schiff and my handler, who's from Miami, are very intimate. And I'm not talking just about the fact that they had sex. The whole sex thing is to break people, or such as the person I saw several months ago. And I just said, I can't say who he is, poor guy, but I can see him in the news struggling. That he didn't want to do something. They're asking him to do something. He doesn't want to do it. Basically, it's going to end up trashing him. And what they did was 5 guys raped him right there on the spot. Okay, you're not going to do it? No problem. Well, you know what? He is doing it. The whole sex thing really breaks you. Why does it break you? Because the kind of spirits that come in when you have a trauma with sex are the incubus and succubus. Those are the ones that are really bad. They create perversions and they have people sexually very perverted and they do these god awful things like the rituals and the cults and all the rest of that. Anyway, lots of information today. And I wasn't even going to get together with you guys, but they're happening this morning. I think I get out of the state of shock. It took me a while to handle that happening because I knew that it was something very big. So anyway, ice down, cool down the United States, put yourself under the cascade, keep everybody at home, cool down because the whole planet is hot. Look at the war. And you can also cool down Israel, da 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 da.